Cathie Wood just said Tesla Cybertruck is the sleeper that could destroy the pricing structure of light-duty trucks, the lifeblood of most traditional auto companies in the US. Really, that is most likely inevitable with what Tesla is about to do. And she quoted Brett, who is ARK Invest's chief futurist. Brett here says, yes, for both the Cybertruck and the Model X, Tesla took on engineering risk with the Model X without doors, but the risk embedded in the Cybertruck exoskeleton accrues to the core cost performance characteristics of the vehicle. On the other hand, the Falcon Wing doors add a cost without improving core performance. Although you could say the Falcon Wing doors, they help you get in the car easier because you are also lifting part of the roof. But every time I use the Model X, I found it a little bit finicky with the doors and everything. So I don't think overall it's much of an improvement really when you consider the net changes, but it's certainly, if you want to look cool, that's the move. So yeah, when you look at the overall package, although it does have what you could call aesthetic performance, the price to manufacture is so much more expensive that there are not so many people that are willing to pay that extra price to justify that extra cost. If the Model X did not have these special doors, I think it would sell a lot more units if it was quite a bit cheaper, which it would be cheaper if it didn't have the doors. Personally, I was going to get a Model X, but with Tesla stock having fallen down so much, I decided, let's buy Tesla stock instead. I don't want that Model X. And here's that original tweet that Cathie Wood quoted. Brett says, the Cybertruck exoskeleton design could deliver Tesla an unimpeachable performance cost advantage in this segment. The manufacturing approach is so different from anything else in the pipeline that if Tesla lands cost on sides, it will likely mortally wound the domestic manufacturers. Morgan Stanley still thinks that Tesla will only sell about 50,000 of Cybertrucks per year. Even if they only sell so few, because Tesla would then expand into regular trucks, if for some reason the Cybertruck does not sell, it will still seriously wound all other automakers. And that's pretty much the worst case scenario from where I'm standing. There are a lot of reasons to believe the Cybertruck could end up cost on side. In traditional auto, paint shops can make up to 30% of the cost to manufacture. And the paint shop is the rate limiter on max production volume in a single manufacturing facility due to air quality impact. And it gets better or worse, a lot worse for the competition. But better for Tesla. Meanwhile, all of domestic manufacturing profitability is the truck segment. Tesla is making wild profits already in segments where normally automakers would not make that much money. I mean, the Model 3 sells well and it makes money. Other automakers are not great at making a lot of money from relatively small vehicles. I mean, the Tesla Model 3 is mid-size, and a lot of these automakers, they don't make much from vehicles like that. So what do you think is going to happen when Tesla enters a vehicle segment where it's easier to be profitable? And yet Tesla completely changed how a vehicle is made in that segment, making the cost a lot lower. These automakers are going to be wrecked. In cars, Tesla is delivering transformative margins in vehicle segments where traditional manufacturers can barely tread water, says Brett. Tesla could opt for similar margins in trucks and by doing so push all of its incumbent domestic competitors onto its Cybertruck, Blade. And we got some comments here. That's too lit. Elon replied to this tweet that said that Tesla is starting a price war. But Elon says, Tom, we are not starting a price war. We are just lowering prices to enable affordability at scale. Which, in other words, means, well, yeah, we already won. Why do we need a war? Then we cut prices back in January A few automakers indeed did respond. For example, Ford did cut the Mach-E prices. Did you see any more price cuts after this latest round of price cuts from Ford, for example, or other automakers? Not really. They are saying we are not even going to try to fight. You won. You do you, Tesla, and we just try to not look at our 40% losses that come with every single vehicle sold. If we had to match your prices, Elon, we would be losing 69% with every EV sold. We're just gonna stick with 40%. Maybe we'll go up to 42%, and that's about it. Rich Cooper, who likes to drive some exotic cars, says, can you start a good-looking electric car war? With the exception of a Model S, Tesla cars look like the dog's breakfast. Not a Tesla app created a render based on the leaked Model 3 picture of a refreshed Model 3, and it looks like one of the most elegant vehicles you have ever seen. And this here is a screenshot from Tesla Daily, and as you can see, this is the leaked picture of that refreshed Model 3. And if you look here, you can see that this thing goes all the way through that door seam, but if you look at the current Model 3, it stops right here. Now, this is one of these previous pictures there. The front is covered that we saw, I think in the US. And clearly this goes further. So that leaked picture does seem to be actually real. We have some important news from WUWA. It appears that Tesla is not exporting as many vehicles this time from China, but instead is focusing more on local deliveries. The inventory at the factory is not that high, but the number of delivery trucks is increasing. So we will really want to pay attention to these numbers locally within China, the insurance numbers, although there has been some speculation that we may not be able to see those anymore. Hopefully we can still see them. If you haven't seen these pictures before, it's insane how many Tesla vehicles there are out there, and you go to other pictures, these are just fully full, and these are Teslas too. It's insane. This new information could be potentially quite bullish, but we'll need to see. Bullish because it would indicate that demand in China is strong. This is relatively big news because it shows that Tesla will be producing rear-wheel drive Model Ys from Giga Berlin going forward. We can confirm that by looking at this country, and you can actually get a color that is only done in Berlin. China does not have this special color. This means that production is ramping well in Giga Berlin now that they are adding this extra trim as well. We of course knew about that a little while ago, about 10 days ago, but that was only available in Turkey. Now it has been added to Israel as well, meaning it is probably going well so far. In Denmark, Tesla is actually advertising for free in basically every major Danish outlet. They are covering the price cuts. I see some people saying, oh, because Tesla's dropping prices so often, consumers will now just wait for more price drops. And sure, some people will, but at some point you will need to get a new car. And then that moment comes, you will get a Tesla if you were thinking about most likely getting a Tesla, because the price just makes sense. So you may wait for a little bit longer, but you are not going to go to another company just because, oh, Tesla, I think is going to get another price drop here now. So that's why I'm not buying a Tesla, even though it's a better product. Yeah, that is not really happening. I mean, let's take a look at some of our competition. Mercedes. This is priced like a Model S. Performance is equal to the Model 3 performance. Range is equal to, well, actually it's worse than the Model 3 standard range. It's only 225 miles. I would not get that for $107,000. How dumb do you have to be to get this vehicle? Well, I guess you can get it if you're not planning to drive. Yeah, 225 miles, that's definitely not enough. 250 miles for me is the absolute bare minimum. Unless you only drive within the city and you never go outside the city, okay, then maybe you can get away with it. But If you're paying $107,000, why just not get an EV that actually has the best performance in terms of range as well as speed? Why get this when you can get the Plaid for $2,000 less? And James is excited about how it's going in Texas. Easily the highest number of Model Ys in the Giga Texas logistics lot. Production must be doing great. And this is an important message to all Tesla stock investors. My name is Matt Posis. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. And I will probably talk a little bit tomorrow about why only one video for today. Bye for now.